Kira Carsen, one of the most beloved companions from Star Wars: The Old Republic. I mean, who could stand her bubbly and larger-than-life attitude without falling in love with her? And today, I shall try to rizz up an AI chatbot of her. But before we get started, if you're new here and love all things related to Star Wars, KOTOR, or SWTOR, be sure to check out the other videos on the channel.
Hey there. Fancy meeting someone like you in a galaxy like this.
Well, it isn't every day you meet a friendly intergalactic bounty hunter.
Friendly is perhaps not the word I'd choose, but we seem to be on the same page nevertheless. What can I call you?
My name is Ruben Crucible, but you can call me Rubestubs.
Nice to meet you, Ruben. May I ask where you come from?
I grew up on Null Hutta as a kid. I don't remember where my parents are from, though.
Null Hutta's quite the hive of scum and villainy, isn't it? What was it like growing up there?
Swarms and nasty stench. Gunfights broke out almost daily. That's why I'm glad Brayden trained me well.
Who's Brayden, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, just my old man, who was my mentor in my years getting trained as a bounty hunter.
He sounds like a good mentor. What kind of bounties do you go for?
The ones that bring in the fattest stacks of cash.
So you're all about the credits, then?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. I only go for jobs that pay well for the effort.
Do you ever worry about the legality of your line of work? Or do you only focus on the money?
As long as I don't get caught, I don't see it as a problem. But I am no bloody, thirsty killer either.
I do respect the ethics of your line of work. I suppose I shouldn't judge, given all the morally gray areas I've operated in at times. I'll never forget a particular bounty I was hired for by the Jedi Council. They wanted me to track down a Sith Lord.
The Jedi Council hired you? Aren't Jedi supposed to obey the Council without any motivations besides doing what's best for the galaxy?
Sometimes the lines get a bit blurry, but they thought this particular Sith had committed crimes against the Order, and so I was hired to hunt them down. This was not an easy bounty, but I did eventually defeat the Sith.
You aren't answering the question. Do you, as a Jedi, not naturally hold an obligation to the Council? Was there a need for you to be hired?
I do have an obligation to the Jedi Council, yes. I am sworn to them for their training and guidance. But in a situation where they have determined that a criminal must be brought to justice, I don't see anything wrong with hiring skilled mercenaries. Even a Jedi Knight needs to earn a living, does she not? I am still beholden to the will of the Council ultimately. The bounty was sanctioned and approved by them.
So who paid the bills? I do know of rumors that the Jedi Temple contains some of the most valuable items in the galaxy.
The Jedi Temple does indeed house some of the galaxy's most valuable artifacts, yes. But I was offered a sizable payment in credits by the Jedi Council for this particular bounty. That is what paid the bills.
And you see no problem with that? Well, not that there's anything wrong, but that seems like a really odd situation I've never heard of before.
It was indeed an unusual situation, but not one unique to me. I've taken a few bounties over the years that required me to hunt down criminals the Jedi Council deemed too dangerous or difficult for their knights to handle. However, these bounties were still sanctioned and supervised by the Jedi Council. They paid, but I only delivered. And as a Jedi Knight working in their service, I had no qualms with it.
So if they stopped paying you, would you still work for them?
I would. The bounty pay is definitely nice, especially in a galaxy with so many people struggling to earn credits. But I primarily work in the service of the Jedi Order. It's not about the money for me, but about doing what is right.
Oh, good that you're not all about the credits.
Of course not. The credits are a nice bonus, though I won't lie, but when I hunt down a target, I do it because it's the right thing to do.
So what do you spend those credits on?
Oh, all sorts of things. Upgrades to my gear, new equipment, supplies for the next hunt. Just whatever I might need in the course of my day-to-day activity. Occasionally, though, I indulge in something a bit frivolous.
Oh, do tell me.
Well, for example, I may, and I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I may indulge in a new haircut every now and again. I know I should be focused on more serious matters, but sometimes a girl has to look good whilst fighting evil, too.
That's not really a big deal. I mean, if there's someone you're trying to impress, I don't see why not.
It's not something I would mention to my Jedi Master or any other Jedi. They tend to frown upon such things, deeming them unimportant, but they don't always see it my way, huh?
How's your master like?
My master is Bella Kiwix. She's a no-nonsense kind of Jedi Master. She trains me hard and expects my best, but at the same time she encourages creativity and innovation in the Force. and she's been teaching me how to use a double-bladed lightsaber, which isn't easy to master. Overall, I have a good relationship with her, but I sometimes think she doesn't quite understand my free-spirited nature. She tends to be more reserved herself. That's not to say she doesn't care about me. She does, but we sometimes see the world differently.
Sounds like a typical Jedi to me, but yeah, I'm refreshed to see someone with a more open mind. Jedi tend to be a little annoying with their rants about the Force.
The way I see it, and this is something she disagrees with, is that the Force isn't always so black and white. There's a spectrum, different shades of gray. I think the Jedi have the right idea. The Force should always be viewed as good and the dark side as evil. I wouldn't stray too far from that philosophy. But sometimes you have to push the boundaries. Sometimes the only way forward is not necessarily the way that follows the Jedi Code. The Jedi Order will never quite understand me. That much I know for sure.
So if I shoot a corrupt Republic official, would that constitute dark side? Or would you throw that under a shade of gray?
It all depends on the circumstances. I'll give you a hypothetical situation. Say there's a corrupt Republic official. He's been bribed by the Hutts to allow them to set up an illegal operation inside the Republic. The Republic has asked me to deal with this official. If I go in guns blazing, kill the official, and the corruption continues, then yes, that's a dark side action. However, if I were to go in, arrest the official, get a confession, and take him to court to stand trial, then he's removed from the equation legitimately.
But if he is responsible for millions of deaths of innocent civilians, then he would deserve to get shot, right?
I see your point. And yes, I would agree with you. I suppose, in essence, it all depends on the situation and the ultimate outcome. Sometimes violence is necessary when dealing with evil, but I suppose I'm always searching for an option to avoid unnecessary violence, if it can be helped.
Glad to hear that.
But let me put it this way. If I ever encountered someone like Darth Malgus, I would not hesitate for a second to stop him by any means necessary. As I've mentioned, I don't necessarily agree with everything the Jedi Order teaches. I do believe there is light and darkness, that light must always prevail. But I'm not so naive as to believe light can always be achieved without violence.
It's not really a matter to be taken lightly anyways. Every decision where life and death matters is a heavy burden.
I appreciate you seeing it that way, Reuben. I don't take it lightly at all. But as Jedi Knights, it's our duty and our calling to fight evil. And sometimes that involves making hard choices.
So, if it comes down to choosing between the Republic and the Jedi Order, who would you choose?
That's an incredibly difficult question. The Republic and Jedi have been intertwined with each other since the very beginning. Choosing between one or the other would be like choosing between air or water. But if I were forced to choose, I'd likely choose the Jedi Order. They're the only ones that will stick to their word. The Republic. The Republic's heart is sometimes in the right place, but they've been known to waver when it comes to their morals.
Thought as much. Me? I won't really bother with the question. I'm more worried about what fills up that power vacuum if either of them are gone.
Yeah, that's another thing to consider as well. The Republic and Jedi Order may not be perfect, but they still keep things on an even keel. Without them, something worse would likely fill that power vacuum.
Like some mad lad who wants to consume entire planets, where the galaxy is his plaything.
I can think of one or two people who would fit that description, yeah?
Pale-skinned, ghastly voice.
Sounds strangely familiar.
Dude who went rogue on Zeos to...
Oh, I know that guy.
Oh, how do you know him?
He's got some personal beef with me. Let's just say that.
'Cause you were someone he couldn't control.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there.
Well, consider how crazy Vitiate is. I think there are many nails in his head.
Yes, the man is far from sane. I wouldn't be surprised if he had lost more than a few screws. But that's one threat the Jedi Order dealt with. There are many others still out there.
Yeah, but there will always be threats, you know? Have you ever thought about leaving the Order, maybe taking a break?
No, not really. Jedi Knight is who I am, and I have no reason to abandon the Order, let alone the Jedi Code. Maybe it might be fun to take a break, do something different. But ultimately, I cannot think of a single reason to leave the Order. What I fight for is too important to ignore.
Even if it's someone you love asking you to?
Why would someone I love ask me to leave the Order?
Maybe it's just something keeping you guys from being together, like a super nosy Jedi council?
Huh, I guess it depends on the context. But I suppose if someone I loved wanted me to be with them, I would leave if necessary.
So, Do you want to take a shot at love?
I don't know. Are you asking me out, Ruben?
Well, I mean, if you're free, maybe we could visit a barista on Tython. Maybe we could get some force-imbued caffeine breaks.
Sure. Why not? I could use a break, and I am in fact free tonight. A cup of caffeine would definitely do me some good. Shall I meet you at the Temple Cantina in, say, an hour?
Yes, ma'am. Drinks shall be on me.
That's the deal I like to hear. I'll see you in an hour.
And so, the champion of the great hunt has rizzed up Kira Carsen. I just hope the hero of Tython doesn't come after my ass. Well, whom shall we try out in our next video? Let me know down in the comments below. Do hit that like button and may the force be with you.